Hey Val. Hi Val. So I'm going to be talking about the session I went to called Preventing Difficult Behaviors, 5 Big Ideas. The whole session itself was around classroom management and how with us having good classroom management, we can decrease difficult behaviors. So this directly goes to TQS 4F, which talks about classroom management. The biggest part he was talking about is how classroom management starts with me. The one thing he kept stating over and over again is don't get angry. So with not getting angry, what I took from that is if you're angry in your classroom, it's not a safe learning environment with the kids, which directly goes to the principals that we've learned. If the kids don't feel safe, why would they want to learn in that environment? So being angry, you're just getting mad at them. The kids with trauma, they're not going to understand. They're just going to see someone angry and then possibly get even more dysregulated, as well as kids with maybe the social emotional learning that's a little bit lower end. They're not going to see the message. They're just going to get mad or they're going to get scared. So I need to be regulated so that our students can be regulated. The next thing was flow state and instruction. So he was talking about this flow state you see in classrooms, and that comes from strong instruction to the students as well as engagement in the material that they're using. So if you don't have an engaging topic or an engaging assignment, they're not going to hit this flow state. As well as that is how we get increased difficult behaviors. For the next one was expectations that he talked about. So he was speaking on how we need to explicitly teach them as well as review them quite often. So he said almost daily until it's a natural thing that the kids understand. So they understand the daily expectations, but if you're talking about an assignment or the expectations of what they need to learn, you should be doing that daily. Having high expectations goes directly to a principle of inclusive education, and we see how it helps all students, so why not do it, especially for our kiddos that we have an inclusive classroom with. With that, having those high expectations, they know exactly what they need to accomplish and how to do it. If you don't set those expectations, your classroom's going to be a little chaotic because they don't know what to do. As well as if you don't have the expectations for their learning, they're just going to see it as pointless and they're not going to hit the goals that you want them to hit. With that, one of the strategies that he brought up that I really enjoyed was meetings and check-ins. So having students be able to understand exactly if it's working for them or not. So I have one kiddo specifically that I thought this would work great with. He doesn't really understand when I'm just speaking to a whole class because he doesn't see himself in it. So if I brought him in and did a quick meeting or a check-in with him, then he's able to understand exactly what he needs to work on. As well as I've noticed myself lacking a little bit with doing this with my whole class as a whole because I feel like they should know it by now, and maybe I need to crisp it up a little bit, like Christy says, and use those kind of class-wide check-ins daily and say, we did great on this, and set a goal of what I want to see for this next class or for this next week. The next thing was accountability. So we talked about how our accountability needs to be positive, behavior focused, and data informed, as well as focus on the growth and not the negativity. We talked about this a lot during our ISP creation, and yes, it's true on our ISPs and our BSPs, but we should be doing this for everything, especially to the kids. I know we made sure we focus on growth and we focus on positive communication when speaking to the parents, but we should make sure we're doing this with the kiddos as well. And I catch myself doing it maybe not as well as I should. So that's something I really want to focus on. Again, all of this is going to increase a safe learning environment by focusing on the growth, as well as keeping my expectations high and making sure that the students understand them. We didn't get to the 5th one because we were talking a lot about some other things, I would love to talk or hear more of his ideas and some more strategies. We talked a lot about box breathing and having daily agendas and stuff like that. So I'd like to hear more of things maybe we haven't talked about in class. But as a conclusion, I think what I've noticed the most, at least from the sessions I went to, was inclusive classrooms require classroom management, not just for 1 or 2 kiddos. We know that we need it for the whole thing. So just make sure when we have a very inclusive classroom that maybe we work on it just a little bit more. And then prevention is key. I don't want to have dysregulated kids because trying to get them back to regulation is difficult. So why not we just try to always keep them regulated? Awesome. Have a great weekend. Thanks.